do have some stories that we want to talk about. A lot is happening right now with tax. I'm going to put you over here because we want everybody to be able to hear you and me and see everything clearly.
Sure,
so,
absolutely.
So what's going on with that? I mean, right now it's not looking like something.
Well, this is the thing, right? So we've got two things that are going on currently, which is that the House Republicans came out yesterday with their bill. So they've had their version of the bill, which came out. Their version of the bill has 4 tax brackets and has a drop in the corporate tax rate to 20% starting immediately. And these are the two big issues. Now, of course, the bigger concern, of course, still revolves around for you and me is our deductions for mortgage interest, et cetera,
right.
Those type of things. And those are kind of similar within both plans. But the big differences between the House bill and the Senate bill is the Senate bill came out yesterday also that has 7 tax brackets. And the big, and this is why the markets were down yesterday and why they're down again this morning, is the Senate bill delays that corporate tax cut of 20% until 2019. So all of this run-up that we've seen in the markets over the course of the last year in particular, starting here and particularly back in November when we actually saw Donald Trump get elected, this entire advance has been really built upon this idea of tax cuts and tax reform and of course also the Affordable Care Act, repeal and replace. We were unable to get repeal and replace done, but because of that, we still have those taxes that are embedded inside the Affordable Care Act that are bleeding over into your paycheck and my paycheck, right, and those type of things. Healthcare premiums for 2018, next year, are set to go up by 40%. So the problem with both of these things, and the markets haven't figured this out just yet, they're looking at this beautiful thing about tax cuts. Right. But what they haven't realized yet is while the Republicans are saying, hey, you're going to get an $1,182 tax cut, your healthcare premiums are going to go up by $1,500 next year. So
and that's something to consider.
Yes.
But also, the likelihood of it passing with, doesn't it need 60 votes?
No. Okay. Right now, well, maybe, but not yet. See, right now, the whole problem here is that both of these bills, they have to fit within this $1.5 trillion deficit expansion. So what does that mean, right? So the deficit is how much is it going to cost us in excess of the revenue that I bring in. So I cut taxes, I get a reduction in the amount of revenue the government collects. I'm going to spend $1.5 trillion more than what I'm going to bring in. So it's going to expand our deficit by $1.5 trillion. So in order to get these bills passed in the Senate, because we're only talking about the Senate, it has to pass with 51 votes in the Senate, as long as it can fit under what's called reconciliation, which is this 51 vote rule. If it does not fit within that $1.5 trillion window, it then requires the 60 votes, which the Senate will never get. Now here's the other problem for the Senate. We're about to repeat what we saw with the Affordable Care Act. We had the House pass a repeal and replacement bill for the Affordable Care Act. The Senate decided not to look at that bill, and the Senate decided to pass their own bill for repeal and replace. They could never get the 52 votes or 51 votes to get it to pass. So we're still stuck with the Affordable Care Act. Same exact setup's happening right now. This is also something that may weigh on the markets. House is going to pass their bill. The Senate is going to fail to pass their bill because they've already got 4 senators that have come out and said, hey, I'm not going to vote for it. Well, they've only got a 52-seat margin. So anything over 2 votes, it could still pass because Mike Pence could come in and provide the 51st vote as for a tiebreaker. The vice president puts in the tie-breaking vote, which would get 51. You lose 3 senators, the bill's dead.
Okay. Well, I mean, these are all things that we're going to be looking out for. But you have something written on your website, Real Investment Advice, on this topic that I want to make sure people go if they want to go into more depth on it.
Well, I've got 2 things out, right? So last Monday, I wrote an article called 3 Myths of Tax Cuts. And, of course, the big focus behind all of this is that we're going to get these tax reforms. It's going to create all this economic growth. There's absolutely no evidence of that. So the article last Monday, 3 Myths of Tax Cuts, is going through the actual issue of tax cuts as it relates to deficits, wages, employment, and growth. Today's article, which is on the website today, which is our weekend reading list, is actually talking about Fitch's report out yesterday that confirms that the problem with tax cuts, the way it's being structured now, it will grow our debt to 120% of debt to GDP. We will be the most indebted country that has a AAA rating in the world.
Okay.
So this is something we'll pay attention to.
You need to definitely go read those because those are interesting, relevant, and definitely on topic. A lot of information that we just threw at you guys right now. So go read the articles and you can take it all in slowly.
Perfect.
But all right, there you go, Lance.
There you go. We'll be back at 8:30 for an open.
All right.
All right.
See you.